Hey, thanks for tuning back in. In the last video that I made, I was talking about trauma as a physiological experience, and I wanted to expand upon that. So when we're faced with a threat, there are chemicals and hormones that get released into our body, some of those being adrenaline and cortisol. And so these chemicals give us the energy so that we can either fight this threat or we can take flight. And if we're not able to do that, if the situation seems too overwhelming, an intelligent response is that we freeze. Or sometimes we fawn, which means that we go along with somebody else's agenda to keep ourselves safe, which are all intelligent responses. And the challenge with that is that when we don't do the movement of the fight or the flight, and we freeze or fawn, these chemicals get stuck into our system. And so that is why a traumatic event becomes a trauma that is trapped in our system. Because not all traumatic events have to stay in our system. They don't have to be traumas that we're working with for the next years, right? And so I mentioned that in my last video that somatic work, somatic exercises can help to release the trauma. So the way that this happens is, for example, when animals are chased in the wild, once they get away or after they've frozen and the threat goes away if they didn't get eaten, they go off into another space and they shake it out, right? So this discharges the chemicals from the system. It makes it so it doesn't get frozen in the cells, so it doesn't become the chemical environment that we're living in or that they're living in. So this is a really innate wisdom, this tremor response. So we can access this tremor response by through the somatic practice of shaking, of consciously shaking. So we find shaking practices in Qigong. We find shaking practices in Osho has an active meditation called Kundalini meditation. I heard that there's an ashram in Bali where people are shaking and they're actually healing dis-ease in the system, because a lot of dis-ease is frozen trauma, and also repressed emotions. So I want to introduce you to the idea of shaking. And when you shake, the shaking is coming from the knees, and you allow your whole body to be loose. Let the head shake, let the wrists shake, let the arms shake, let your whole body be loose, yeah? And so I created some music. You can access that off my website. It's a free gift to you. Just sign up on my newsletter at intimacyadventure.com, and it'll arrive into your inbox. And you can download this music, and what it is music for 5 minutes, and then there's a bell, and then there's silence for 5 minutes, and then there's a bell. And so this is an active meditation. So you're going to shake and move, and then it's much easier to sit still, right? So I invite you to use this practice of shaking to access your own tremor response. So this really helps to heal trauma and anxiety and panic and depression. I promise you, I use this in my own life, and I noticed such a difference. I did it for extended periods of time, and it really doesn't take a lot of time. So I'm going to share some more tips in my next videos. Please, if you like this video, if this is helpful to you, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and share with people that you feel would benefit. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.